The story of D.B. Cooper is one of the most enduring mysteries in American history. It's a tale of daring, intrigue, and an audacious escape that has baffled investigators for over half a century. On November 24, 1971, a man who came to be known as D.B. Cooper hijacked a commercial airplane, extorted $200,000 in ransom, and parachuted into the night, never to be seen again. Despite decades of investigations, countless leads, and a plethora of theories, the identity and fate of D.B. Cooper remain a mystery. This script delves into the events of that fateful day, the subsequent investigation, and the cultural impact of this enigmatic figure. The hijacking. The saga began on the afternoon of November 24, 1971, the day before Thanksgiving. A man in his mid-40s, wearing a business suit and a black tie, approached the ticket counter at Portland International Airport. He purchased a one-way ticket under the name Dan Cooper for Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305, a short 30-minute trip to Seattle, Washington. Cooper boarded the Boeing 727 carrying a briefcase and quietly took his seat near the rear of the plane. Shortly after takeoff, he handed a note to flight attendant Florence Schaffner. At first, Schaffner thought it was just another businessman trying to flirt, but Cooper leaned in and whispered, "Miss, you'd better look at that note. I have a bomb." The ransom demand. Inside the note, Cooper demanded $200,000 in cash, 4 parachutes, and a fuel truck standing by in Seattle to refuel the aircraft for his onward journey. To emphasize his threat, he opened his briefcase to reveal a tangle of wires and red sticks, a crude but convincing bomb. The flight crew relayed Cooper's demands to air traffic control, who in turn contacted the FBI. As the plane circled above Seattle to buy time, the airline's management agreed to Cooper's demands. The passengers were told there was a mechanical issue to keep them calm, and upon landing in Seattle, the ransom and parachutes were delivered. Cooper allowed all 36 passengers and 2 flight attendants to disembark, keeping only the flight crew on board. After receiving the ransom and parachutes, Cooper instructed the pilots to take off and head toward Mexico City. He gave precise instructions to maintain a low altitude of 10,000 feet and to keep the landing gear down. Somewhere over southwestern Washington, near the dense forests of the Cascade Range, Cooper lowered the plane's rear stairs and jumped into the dark, stormy night with the ransom money strapped to his body. When the plane landed safely in Reno, Nevada, Cooper was nowhere to be found. He had vanished into the wilderness, leaving behind only his black clip-on tie and a mystery that would capture the imagination of millions. The investigation. The FBI launched one of the largest manhunts in U.S. history. They combed the rugged terrain where Cooper was believed to have landed, but no trace of the man or the money was found. The search was hampered by the harsh weather, dense forests, and the sheer size of the area. Over the years, several pieces of evidence have surfaced. In 1980, an 8-year-old boy named Brian Ingram found $5,800 in deteriorating $20 bills along the banks of the Columbia River, matching the serial numbers of the ransom money. This discovery raised more questions than it answered. Did Cooper bury the money? Did it wash downriver from his landing site? Or did he lose it during his descent? The FBI interviewed hundreds of suspects, but none could be definitively linked to the crime. Some of the most prominent suspects include Richard Floyd McCoy. A Vietnam veteran and experienced skydiver, McCoy carried out a similar hijacking just months later. However, he was ruled out due to a lack of physical resemblance and an alibi for the day of the Cooper hijacking. Kenneth Christensen, a former paratrooper and flight attendant for Northwest Orient Airlines, Christensen's background and behavior raised suspicions. However, no concrete evidence tied him to the case. Robert Rackstraw, a decorated Army veteran and pilot. Rackstraw was considered a strong suspect due to his skills and cryptic statements. Yet investigators never found definitive proof linking him to Cooper. Many theorists believe Cooper did not survive the jump. The conditions were perilous. He jumped at night into freezing temperatures and without proper gear for such a high-risk parachute landing. Others argue that his precise instructions to the crew indicate he was an experienced skydiver and likely survived. The mystery of D.B. Cooper has become a cultural phenomenon. His story has inspired books, movies, TV shows, and even songs. He is often portrayed as a modern-day Robin Hood, a figure who outwitted the system and disappeared into legend. The case remains the only unsolved air piracy case in U.S. history, adding to its allure. Despite the FBI officially closing the investigation in 2016, amateur sleuths and conspiracy theorists continue to search for answers. Forums, documentaries, and podcasts dedicated to the case keep the legend of D.B. Cooper alive. D.B. Cooper's audacious hijacking and subsequent disappearance remain one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of the 20th century. Whether he survived the jump or met his end in the wilderness, his story continues to captivate the public imagination. The man who vanished into the night with $200,000 left behind not just a mystery, but a legacy of intrigue that shows no signs of fading. Until the day the truth emerges, if it ever does, D.B. Cooper will remain a symbol of one of history's most daring and enigmatic crimes. The enigma of D.B. Cooper isn't just about a man who vanished. It's about how he defied expectations and left behind a legacy of unanswered questions. Unlike most criminal cases, the Cooper hijacking has no clear ending, transforming it into a puzzle that refuses to be solved. One of the most curious aspects of this story is the psychological profile of the man. Cooper's calm and collected demeanor, even under extreme pressure, sets him apart. What drove him to such a daring act? Was it greed, desperation, or something deeper, a desire to leave his mark on history? Adding to the intrigue are the theories about his preparation. Some experts believe Cooper might have had military training, given his precise demands and knowledge of parachuting. Others argue that he was an aviation enthusiast, familiar with the capabilities of the Boeing 727. These insights paint the picture of a meticulous planner, someone who thought through every detail. Interestingly, Cooper's act wasn't just a crime, it was a cultural statement. In an era of social upheaval and distrust in authority, Cooper became an anti-hero, someone who challenged the system and vanished into legend. A crucial yet often overlooked detail is how Cooper carefully interacted with the crew. Reports suggest he was polite, even considerate during the ordeal. This unexpected civility adds another layer to his character. While most hijackers rely on fear, Cooper opted for cooperation, ensuring the passengers remained calm and unharmed. Was this a deliberate tactic to avoid escalating the situation, or was it a glimpse into his real personality? Theories about his survival also captivate researchers. The dense forests of the Pacific Northwest, combined with the harsh November weather, made his escape nearly impossible. Yet some argue that his demands for specific parachutes and a low-altitude flight indicate he had a clear exit strategy. Could Cooper have survived blending into society with a new identity? Or was his jump a final gamble, one he didn't live to tell? In 1980, a significant clue emerged when a young boy discovered several $1,000s of the ransom money along the Columbia River. While it confirmed the bills were from Cooper's haul, it raised even more questions. How did the money end up there? Did Cooper deliberately leave it as a diversion, or was it lost during his jump? Despite decades of investigation, no definitive evidence has surfaced about Cooper's fate. Some theorists suggest he was a lone wolf, operating without any accomplices. Others speculate he had inside knowledge, possibly working with someone who ensured his escape. The FBI officially closed the case in 2016, but the allure of D.B. Cooper lives on. Forensic experts, amateur sleuths, and storytellers continue to keep the mystery alive. Cooper's story isn't just about a crime, it's about human curiosity, the thrill of the unknown, and the endless search for truth. And maybe that's the most fascinating part of all. How one man's actions turned into a tale that refuses to fade, inspiring generations to ponder the ultimate question. Who was D.B. Cooper? If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more thrilling content. Otherwise, D.B. Cooper might just surprise you too.